my goal with you today, and thank you for joining me. I do appreciate your time. I don't take it for granted. You're all busy professionals. In fact, the reason that you're on this call is because I've picked you to be here. I want to talk to you about eXp because you're all productive agents. And because of that, I know you're busy. You've got stuff on your plate. I don't take it for granted. I appreciate your time. Thank you. But I am increasingly excited about eXp and what it's doing for good agents like you, particularly how you get compensated. So for those of you who don't know my background, super brief, I am a real estate trainer by profession. I have been for the last 20 years. I have run several training businesses. I had the country's biggest one-on-one coaching company in the real estate space. So I've trained tens of thousands of South Africa's estate agents through the years, literally tens of thousands. And I've coached hundreds and hundreds of them one-on-one through my coaching organizations. So I've seen a lot of different real estate companies and different real estate models. And in fact, through the years, I was approached many times by real estate companies to get involved with them. And not only real estate companies, but like attorneys and bond originators, and the list goes on, software companies who wanted me to promote their stuff to the real estate industry because I was well known and I had a big database, and I think I'd like to think my reputation was pretty good as a trainer within the real estate industry. And so it was that in late 2020, I was approached by an ex-client of mine now living in Canada. I had done some training for his organization, and he said to me, Stephen, my name's Bill Campbell. You've done some training for my company. I didn't know him very well. And he said, there is a company coming to South Africa that you have to look at. They are changing the way real estate works around the world, and you really need to look at them. I think there's opportunity. And because I am approached a lot to promote stuff and people wanting me to look at their thing, it's not, look, I think just pragmatically, I can't take all of those calls and I can't look at all of those opportunities and I can't open all those doors. Everybody wants the doors opened. So I pushed back a little bit. And like I normally do, I said, okay, well, just email me some information. That's like the normal go-to when you don't want to talk to someone, just email me some information. I'm glad none of you guys gave me the email me some information treatment. Thank you. So he just persisted, man. He kept phoning me, and then one day he actually came to South Africa. He was sitting in the President Hotel in Bantry Bay, and he phoned me and he said, I have come all the way to Cape Town. You have to meet with me. So I thought, oh my word, okay. So I went down to the President Hotel. I walked in. There was Bill. I sat down. He said, are you hungry? And I actually was hungry at the time. So I said, yeah, I'll have a chicken mayonnaise sandwich. So he ordered me a chicken mayonnaise sandwich. He put a laptop on my lap and he pressed play. And I watched a video by a guy called Brent Gove. It's the US version of what you're going to see today. And even though it was in US dollars, etc., there I was, chomping on my chicken mayonnaise sandwich, dripping crumbs all over this guy's laptop. And in that, I think it was like a half an hour video. In that half an hour, my life changed. My view of the future, my view of real estate, the opportunity that I saw. Now, I didn't tell him that I was excited by what I saw, but as soon as I saw this thing, I said to myself, this is what I have been looking for. This is what I feel like everything in the past has led to. Almost like it was this providential moment that this was meant to happen. And why did I get so excited? Now, I'm going to get to that in a second because I want to mention to you what I kind of noticed. And hopefully you're going to notice the same things when I give the presentation to you today. But the first thing that I want to encourage you to do, we were speaking about this a little earlier before the call began, was that you must go and do some homework. The more videos you can watch, the more websites you visit, the more you Google this thing, the better. Because if this business is what we say it is, and I mean, factually, we know what it is. It's the largest independent real estate company in the world. It's the fastest growing real estate company in history by like multiples. and it is now the fastest growing real estate company in South Africa's history by a long shot. If it is all of that, some simple research is going to bear out the truth of it. So go and do some research. We've put up a page with a whole bunch of videos on it. I sent one of them to you guys yesterday, the one on Facebook, but we've got a whole bunch of videos. Some I've done, some international, some from conferences, some websites, and we've put it all on one page. So what I'm going to do, and I'm finished with you guys today, is I'm going to email this link to you, to the page where you can go and do some homework and just get lost in that page. I mean, there's hours and hours and hours of stuff there. Just get lost in it. The more you can do, the better. Okay, so here's what I noticed. And this is probably the first thing you will notice at the end of today. This is what will strike you. Number one, well, the idea is behind there's the whole exit plan. I had the same problem that you probably have in your real estate business. Now, I know a number of you guys on this call own your own real estate companies, sort of small to medium-sized businesses. Some of you are independent agents. Some of you are working for someone else in like a franchise. But it actually doesn't matter which one of those categories you're in. We all have the same problem in real estate. There's no exit plan. As a small to medium-sized business owner, if you've got, say, 20 agents in your office, I know what your life looks like. I've dealt with enough principals to know. You've got your phone rings 100 times a day. You're busy with if you're not busy with agent problems, you're trying to organize training. You're paying bills. You're then dealing with the auditors on your trust account. You are swimming in admin and pressure. That's the life of a real estate leader. And the moment you close the doors of your business, you stop earning. The other thing that happens with small to medium-sized real estate business owners is that it's like this revolving door. You get to maybe 10 or 15 agents and whoa, you've worked really hard to get there, but you train up agents, you pour your life into these guys, and 3 years later they leave. They go somewhere else. It's like you just can never get ahead. How can your real estate business actually give you financial freedom? Now, the same is true of you if you're an independent agent or you're working for a franchise. I don't care, and some of you are high-producing agents, that's why you're here. I don't care if you did 5 million Rand in commissions last year. Well, or this year. On the 1st of January 2024, you start from zero. You're out getting more listings, doing more viewings, contract negotiations, getting things under contract, getting things closed, waiting for the next registration. The moment you stop working, you stop earning. Now, I had the same problem. I had a real estate training business, great business. You make a lot of money in a short amount of time with webinars and stuff. But the moment I stopped working, I stopped earning. I was always chasing the next speaking engagement, the next conference, the next webinar, the next partner to bring a crowd. I was having to think of new training courses all the time to try to keep the thing fresh. It was exhausting. I was exhausted. So I'm sitting there eating my chicken mayonnaise sandwich, actually exhausted by this thing of business. And I see a model which the genius of it is that it gives agents an opportunity to build genuine financial freedom. It gives you an exit plan. Okay, there's two ways that works. The first is through eXp, we have the opportunity of building up what can become a sizable shareholding in the company. So eXp, as I will explain later, is listed on one of the major stock exchanges of America, and the agents of the company own the company. We get given shares in the business, and you can build up more and more shares by doing what essentially you're already doing in your current company. Secondly, and this really is where the magic is, eXp have a system called revenue sharing. Because the agents are the owners of the business, the agents share in the revenues of the company, not the profits, the revenues of the company. There's a big difference between profit and revenue. What eXp do is, I'm going to explain to you why they are the most profitable real estate company on the planet, head and shoulders above every other real estate company. They are massively profitable. There is a reason for that. It's because they're cloud-based and they have no bricks and mortar. What they do with all that money that is profit, that other real estate companies don't have, is they make it available to the agents of the company. And how do you do that? You do that by helping grow the company. If you help to grow the company as if you were a principal, recruiting agents, you, as a normal principal, you get a split on your agents' commissions. eXp will incentivize you, if you attract other agents to the business, by sharing some of their split that they get on those agents with you. Okay, so they share the revenues of the company. And in fact, the majority of the revenues, it's 50%. eXp are committed. They pay out 50% of their revenues to the agents. And you're going to see now how they can do that, why they're so profitable. Okay, the other thing that you may notice, this is another thing which a lot of people like about eXp, is that it offers you complete independence, right? Every eXp agent is an independent contractor. We don't have a traditional principal. We don't have bricks and mortar offices. You don't have to be in any meetings. You don't have to sell any houses. You don't have to do anything. No one's ever going to be looking over your shoulder asking you, how many listings have you got? How many phone calls did you make this week? What? There's no kind of nitpicking oversight as there is in some real estate businesses. You are completely independent as an eXp agent, and yet you are part of the most collaborative the most collaborative real estate culture in the world. And you speak to any eXp agent, not just South Africa, reach out to eXp agents all over the world, and they will tell you this. This is the most incredibly collaborative business. It's like a bunch of independent entrepreneurs that have all banded together and said, we're going to support each other to change the world. So we're independent, and yet we've got this platform to build our businesses. Now, one of the things that does is it enables you, if you own your own business right now, which I know a couple of you guys do, and you don't want to lose your brand, you don't have to. You bring your brand across to eXp. I'll explain how this works later. And you are then, so let's say Steve Johnston Properties, you're now just Steve Johnston Properties powered by eXp. So you just have a powered by eXp logo on your stuff. Everything else stays the same. And yet behind the scenes, there are enormous benefits to doing that, because you shed all of the costs of running the business and all of the legal and administrative and legislative headaches that come along with running a real estate business all get stripped out. eXp takes care of everything. You keep your brand and keep operating as you will. You can keep your website, you can keep your email addresses, everything. Okay, so independence backed by a global superpower. So it essentially allows you to own your own business without any of the hassle and expense of doing so. All right, who founded eXp? This guy, Glenn Sanford. He was a Keller Williams leader. Many of the initial eXp leaders came from Keller Williams, actually. He had a very successful real estate team with Keller Williams in the late 2000s. He had a $60 million team, but he was a kind of techie genius. He's a bit of a Steve Jobs character. Even in the 2000s, he said, we don't need offices. I'm just going to run a business in the cloud. Now, that was in the day and age where there's no webinars, there's no Google meetings, there was nothing like that. This was really prescient. And he built this enormous real estate team with no offices. Everything was done in the cloud. And then in 2009, there was that huge shakeup in the world. Those of you who are in real estate will remember 2008, 2009, really took tumultuous times. And he took that time of change to say, okay, I'm going to experiment with this idea that I've got. If I were to join a real estate company, he said to himself, what would I want the company to offer me? That's what I'm going to build, an agent-centric business. So he started this company called eXp. Nobody knows what eXp stands for. I've heard an interview with Glenn. It's like exponential and experience, and he just like throws out all these different words. But eXp Realty. And shortly after that, he managed to get the rights to a company called Verbella. So eXp World Holdings, now the holding company, they own Verbella 100%. Verbella developed a metaverse. Okay, we've actually had a metaverse for the better part of over 10 years at eXp. All of our offices are based in this metaverse. I'll show you a little screenshot of it later. You create a little avatar and you walk. You need transactional support. You go into the South African offices. As you walk into the South African offices, Irene Hall will be there. And Irene will say, hey, Steve, how are you doing this morning? How can we help? I say, look, I need to speak to Zion. I've got a transactional issue with one of my details. No problem. You can head through. Zion's in her office. You walk through into Zion's office, and boom, she'll say, hi, Steve, how can I help you? Well, I've got this transaction. Let's pull it up on the screen. She pulls it up on the screen. She helps me click here, done. You can't believe how efficient an avatar world can be. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to book an appointment with anyone. Now, that multiplied by 24 countries, which is what eXp operates in, 90,000 agents, and you start to realize why this company is so profitable. 90,000 agents in 24 countries, and we don't own one office. Now, you compare that to a Keller Williams, for example. I'm not picking on them. They're just a well-known international brand. If you were to add up all of the money that is spent on bricks and mortar for a Keller Williams or a Remax, or in South Africa, any of the brands, you pick a brand, all of the money that's spent on office space, like head office space, regional offices, national offices, franchise offices on the corner of every street, and all of the staffing and all of the insurance and all of the desks and all of the aircon and the coffee machines and the photocopiers and you add up all of that for a global company, it would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a year. eXp has got none of that expense. That's where all the money comes from. And instead of keeping all the money, Glenn then said, okay, well, let's start a business where the agents make that money. Let's pay it all back to the agents. Okay, so what they do when they go to a new country is they start a company, they register a company in the country. They own the company 100%. eXp is not a franchise model. Everything's owned by eXp World Holdings in America. And then they employ a local staff. So in South Africa has been very successful in eXp's global expansion. In fact, we're the most successful country outside of America. We've been incredibly successful here, and there are reasons for that. We've got good leadership. There's a great team. So Andrew Thompson is the principal of eXp South Africa, and he's built an amazing team. There's about 15 staff members now. Now, just let me actually stop there for a second. Even that fact should get your attention. So how many agents does eXp have after 3 years in South Africa? That's when we launched 3 years ago. What would be reasonable after 3 years of running a real estate company? Maybe get to 10, maybe get to 15, maybe get to 20 agents, maybe get to 30. We've got 1,200 agents after 3 years in South Africa. You look at what this company has done. The facts, just they are so overwhelming. It starts to arrest you. Like, what is going on here? Now you've got a company of 1,200 agents, unbelievably well supported, slick systems. You cannot believe the systems of this business. And it's led by 15 people, 15 staff members. I mean, if you were to look at a similar sized company in South Africa, which is now, I think we're the 7th biggest in the country already after 3 years, they've got hundreds and hundreds of employees. It's an illustration of how good the systems are with this business. Okay, so we can introduce you to all the people. Javi Rousseau is a huge asset to eXp. He was, if not the second top recruiter for Keller Williams in South Africa. It took me about a year to get him across to eXp, but he's absolutely flying at eXp now. He is building his own team, but he's also been employed as eXp as our operations manager, as a brilliant guy. And then there's a bunch of other staff members. You will meet Robin Nell Ferreira. She is our onboarding specialist. I'm saying that in faith that you're going to be joining eXp. If you join, she will be the lady that onboards you. So you'll get to know Robin quite well in the beginning. She'll help you get up and running. We've got an entire financial team that does everything. This guy, Sia Nzamandi, what a lacquer guy. He's just joined the bottom right-hand panel. He's doing all of the PR and marketing for eXp in South Africa. He's just come from the Ironman group. So he was like doing PR work for some of the top brands around the world. He's a real asset again. And then there are transactional specialists that work with you on all of your transactions and help you get your FICA documentation in place, etc. So there is wonderful support. The other person I want to just point out to you is Irene. is Irene, bottom left hand there, Irene Swart. She's the agent services coordinator. If at any point you don't know what's going on, like you don't know how to, like, I need to list a farm. How do I list a farm on our listing system, which is called Rep? How do I do that? You phone Irene, she sorts you out. She is unbelievable with all of our agents as the support coordinator. Okay. So I want to just contrast for you now before I get into the model itself. So I'm actually going to get into the model just now. There's 4 pillars to it. But before I do that, I just want to contrast the two models of real estate, because you have to understand that eXp is a market disruptor, and they are disrupting through technology. Now, that is what we've seen happen in industries like the hotel industry. You know, you've got Hilton Hotels with $4 billion US, and you've got other, Fairtree, and you've got other hotel chains that work around the world. And then you've got this company called Airbnb that comes on the scene. It's not just another hotel group with a different color branding. It's a complete disruption to the market. Airbnb are worth 4 times what Hilton Hotels is worth. That's their market cap. And you know what? They don't own one property. It's an app. That's disruption. You look at, maybe you were like me, you raised kids in the time of DVD stores or video stores. So I remember going down, my kids are now 21, 19, and 17. So, I remember 15 years ago traipsing down to Mr. Video on a Friday night. And the first challenge was not to lose your children in Mr. Video. You have to make sure everyone is holding everybody else's hand. And then you head in. There's people everywhere. There's people wrestling over. Do you remember there was the DVD box and then the slot underneath. And if there was only one left, people were diving across the aisles to get the last one in the slot. Do you know of a video store that exists anymore? Is there a video store? Maybe there's some retro dude from the 70s who smokes dope and he's just he still rents out videos. But Netflix completely destroyed the home entertainment industry as it was. Live streaming. They don't own one store. They don't own one little DVD disc, and yet they're the biggest in the world. This is what technology does. You can look at other industries that's happened. Uber in the taxi industry. It's just an app. This is what eXp have done. They have completely destroyed the traditional model. Traditional model, left-hand side of the screen. Whether it's a local company or an international business, doesn't matter. It's the same model. Let's take a Sotheby's. They're owned by a company used to be called Anywhere. No, it used to be called Realty. Now they're called Anywhere. So that's the biggest real estate grouping in the world. They own Sotheby's, they own ERA, they own Century 21, they own Corcoran, they own Better Home and Garden. Those are big brands in the States. I'm going to talk about them to you later. So if you take a Sotheby's, for example, I do remember launching for the last... Yeah, me too. I probably wrestled with you at some point for anyway, let's not get distracted. You take a Sotheby's or a Keller Williams. Here's the way it works. There is an owner to the business. Some of these businesses are listed, like Anywhere is listed. Some of them are privately owned, like Remax. Who owns Remax? Do the agents own Remax? No. Dave Liniger owns Remax. And he's not giving anything away. And you know what? Power to Dave Liniger. Well done. He built a good business. Keller Williams. Who owns Keller Williams? Gary Keller owns Keller Williams. Well done, Gary. Good. You've built an amazing business, but he owns it all. And so you've got leadership at the top. They are the guys that make all the money. That's where the real money and the real freedom lies, the exit plan. So the way they then work is, if it's an international business, they have some kind of office. So Remax has a head office somewhere in the world. Keller Williams has a head office, and that's where Dave Liniger or Gary Keller goes in on a Monday morning, and everyone greets them. They get their coffee put on their table. They're in a brick and mortar building. What they then do is they then start expanding regionally within their country, like in the States, in all the different states, and then internationally. So You know, there will be a Keller Williams, someone who gets the right to Keller Williams in South Africa, or someone gets the rights to Remax in South Africa, and they pay a lot of money for that. All of this stuff is getting paid for. And then those regional leadership have a brick and mortar office. They have expenditure that goes along with that layer. And then what these guys do is they sell franchises. So if you want to buy a Keller Williams Market Center or buy a Remax franchise, or if a local version of this pyramid is Pam Golding or Seaf or whatever, you buy a Pam Golding franchise and then you pay $1 million and now you can set up. And now there's all the expenditure of it. You've got to get a brick and mortar office on the corner of the street in Kenilworth here. You need an office administrator. You need a receptionist. You need desks and chairs, and you need to spend hundreds of thousands on interior decorating so it looks good when the clients come in. Guys, do you understand how expensive this model is? There is brick and mortar in every single layer of this, and there are chunks of cash just coming out of the system for every single layer. Now, here's the question. Where does all the money come from? Who makes all the money? Who generates the cash? It's the agents that make all the money. It's the agents representing buyers and sellers of property, generating commissions, and then the broker owner or the franchise owner takes a split on those agents' commissions. And that split has to feed the beast. Okay, so old Glenn Sanford comes along and he says, this is ridiculous. We don't need offices. The whole of real estate works in the cloud. Let's just ditch all offices. And in fact, let's make the agents the owners of the company. Let's get this thing listed as fast as we can and give the agents the shares. They own the company. It's all based in the cloud, so we're super profitable. And then we will build, as a platform, the most technologically advanced real estate platform on the planet for the agents to own and run their own businesses on. That's the vision. So, question, has it worked? And is it working? So you may have heard of the Inman conference in America. I think Inman was actually started by a South African boykie, isn't it? Am I right? I think it was a South African oak. There's some South African oak with a very South African accent that's like big in real estate commentary in America. Anyway, at the Inman conference recently, so this is not an eXp conference, it's an industry conference, an industry commentator named Mike Del Preet. You can go and check out Mike Del Preet's YouTube channel. This presentation is on his YouTube channel. He's not an eXp guy, he's just a commentator. He gave his talk on disruption in the real estate industry. And he just started talking all about eXp because eXp is the disruptor. And he's now showing you what the profitability of these companies is behind the scenes. These are publicly listed businesses, so we've got the numbers on them. We don't have the numbers on like a Remax or a Keller Williams because they're not publicly listed. So you take Compass, for example. Compass is, in the last 5 years, has been the only company to get even close to eXp's growth rate. So eXp are still by far the fastest growing real estate company in history, but Compass are the next down. How did Compass grow? Very different business model. I think they were owned by some huge corporate financiers with very deep pockets, and they basically just went and purchased a whole lot of companies. So they bought medium and small to medium-sized real estate companies all over America, and they've built this company just through acquisition. But because of that, you look at the amount of money that they're burning. In the first quarter of 2023, this is in 3 months, they made a $65 million loss in 3 months. Folks, you can't burn that amount of cash for very long. Then you've got Anywhere. Anywhere are the largest real estate conglomerate in the world. As I said to you, they own a whole bunch of brands, Sotheby's, ERA, Century 21, etc. Anywhere are drowning financially. In the first quarter of this year, they made a $50 million loss. because the expenses are just so high. This old model is sinking. And so it goes on. The only profitable company that we've got access to the finances on is eXp. Look, United were a little bit profitable, insignificant, but eXp made a, whatever that was, $15 million profit in the first quarter of this year. The earnings for quarter 3 have just been announced. If you go to eXp's website, you'll see them. They were announced yesterday. And again, we've made, I think it was an $18 million profit in the quarter. And the US are in a recession. Everyone's losing money in the States. eXp are still profitable. Why? Because our expenses are so low. So is it working? I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Okay, so what is the model? Now, this is what we're going to do for the rest of today. eXp have got essentially 4 pillars that make up the disruption of their model. And I'm going to tell you what they are in advance, and then we'll go through them one by one. That's the rest of today. So number 1 is a phenomenal technology platform. I've already spoken a little bit about that. And it enables you to essentially run your own business on someone else's platform. Secondly, eXp provide the best training of any real estate company on the planet. I know that's a bold claim. I will justify that claim when we get to that. There is no company that even comes close to comparing with eXp's training for agents. Thirdly, it is an agent-owned business. So eXp is listed on one of the major stock exchanges in the States. It's the tech stock exchange where Facebook and Google and Apple are all listed. It's called the NASDAQ. So eXp is listed on the NASDAQ, and we get given shares in the company. I'll talk about how that works later. And then fourthly is the revenue sharing system that if you help to grow the business, you will get a bigger and bigger slice of the revenues of the company paid to you as a passive income. As a passive income. That's why I joined eXp, that number 4, because I saw the passive income opportunity here. Now, we have many agents that join eXp that actually do not take the revenue sharing part of eXp seriously at all. For them, that's not what attracted them. They love the split that they're on. I'll explain how that works. They love the fact that they get shares. They love the training, and they love the independence. And maybe that's all that's going to interest you. That's fine. Nobody has to do all of these things, but these are the pillars. All right, the tech platform. So I'm just going to hit the highlights. I can show you lots of stuff behind the scenes, show you all our technology, our listing systems and all of that, but let me just give you the highlights. Okay, so how much does it cost to join eXp? There's a 900 Rand joining fee. That gets you onboarded. It gets you access to your email address and access to all of the systems. And then it costs 900 Rand per month to be a member of eXp. So to have your own real estate business, working on eXp's platform costs you 900 Rand a month. Now, let's just stop there for a second. Because some of you are business owners here. How much do you spend? You don't have to tell me, but I'm going to assume a number because I know what the numbers are. How much do you spend just on your P24 membership every month? Okay, so depending on how big you are, you probably spend about 5,000 Rand a month on P24. That's just P24. That's just one of the portals. If you're a little bit bigger, it can be more than that. Not only that, you pay for all your clicks. You pay for every lead. It's like this horrible surprise you get every month. How much is the invoice from P24 going to be? Then there's, if you want to list on private property, similar costs with private property. How much do you pay for Lightstone every month? How much do you pay for virtual agent to get property owner details every month? How much do you pay for your website or your listing system? So how do you load your listings to get them onto your website? I mean, we could go on with CRM systems. What do you have a CRM system? How much do you pay for your CRM every month? The list goes on and on and on. For 900 Rand a month, you're going to get everything I've just mentioned to you. Unlimited listings on both portals, unlimited clicks, unlimited leads, Lightstone membership, virtual agent membership, CRM. You can choose your CRM. I suggest you go for the PropCon option. It's the best CRM in South Africa. PropCon membership is built into everything. You get it all, plus the listing system, plus access to all of eXp's global opportunities. You get everything. for 900 Rand a month. That should get your attention. Okay, what split are you on? Okay, now this is important. You're on a 71-29 split with eXp until you cap. Okay, let me explain that. First of all, why do I say 71-29 when this slide says 75-25? Because the way it works is when you do a deal before you've capped, you pay 25% to eXp South Africa. Yes, Shireen, that is per agent. Yeah. You pay 25% to eXp South Africa, but you also pay, look at the bottom panel on that slide, you pay 4% to international. So let's just call it what it is. You're on a 71-29 split with eXp. But that 25% that you pay in on your transactions is limited to 150,000 Rand a year. Once you've paid in 150,000 Rand on your 25% split, eXp say to you, thank you, you've done well for the year. Let's say that takes you 6 months. We now no longer want anything from you. You keep it all except for the 4%. You keep paying the 4% after you've capped. Okay, now, if you've kind of been working the maths in your head, what does that mean for gross commission? In order to cap, you have to do 600,000 Rand gross commission. Because when you've done 600,000 gross commission, you would have paid in 25% of that, which is 150,000 Rand. Once you've done 600 gross commission, you cap. From that point onwards, you keep 96% of your commission. So we've got a guy who works in Gauteng. His name's Brad Neal. He was one of the top Tyson agents in the country. Having been with Pam Golding before that, he came across to eXp. Brad is probably making, I don't know the exact numbers, but he's probably making, it could be R1 million a year more, having come across because he was on a 50-50 split at Tyson. Now he's on a 71% split with a cap. He capped in 6 weeks this year. So that means for the better part of 10 and a half months, he's keeping 96% of his commissions. It has completely changed his life. So the split is good with eXp. Now, if you own your own business in here, this is one of the costs that you've got to count. You know, you've got to count the cost when you make a decision. At the moment, you don't split your commissions with anybody. You keep 100% of your own commission if you own your own business. Okay, so for you, you are now going to pay the 29% until you cap. What you've got to then calculate in your mind and in your heart, because obviously this is also an emotional decision, this is maybe a journey that you want to go on, is the reduction in expenditure that eXp will allow you to have. Because what will happen is that you will essentially strip out, you will actually close the legal entity of your business unless you've got a rental management book. Okay, we can talk privately if you've got rental management, and we've got solutions for that, but it just slightly complicates matters. But otherwise, you can close the legal entity of your company, shut down the trust account, shut down all the memberships, everything gets shut down behind the scenes. You now no longer have to do any of the statutory legal stuff, but you keep your brand. You move across to eXp, you join as an individual, you sponsor all of your agents into your business. Sponsor just means they come in with you into your organization. To the general public, they don't see any change. They still see Steve Johnston Properties, that they just see powered by eXp now. But behind the scenes, all the costs, all the admin, all the audits, everything's gone. You don't have any of that anymore. And typically, in fact, what we see is that principals begin selling more when they join eXp because they've got so much more time on their hands. That's something else you need to factor in, is you'll be able to do more sales yourself. So how much money will you save every month by coming to eXp is something you're going to need to calculate. You're going to have to do your maths. Okay, that's all I wanted to say on that. Hopefully you understand the capping system. I've already talked about what the fees include. There's like 20 things I haven't mentioned with chatbots and like landing page websites. There's all sorts of stuff you get with eXp systems. I'm not going to go into all the detail of that today. The main things you need to know is all your listings get syndicated to both portals, and you've got all the tools that you currently use, like Lightstone and Virtual Agent and CMA and all those things that you use at the moment. You get them with eXp. Okay. PropCon. So eXp give you options on your CRM system. You can use PropData's CRM system. You can use eXp's CRM system that's linked to our listing systems called Rep. I don't really like it. And then you can use PropCon. PropCon is a South African developed CRM system by Leandra van Rooyen and her husband Lawrence. It is the best CRM system on the planet. And if that's too much of a claim, then I will tell you this. It is the best CRM system for South African estate agents, hands down. I hope some of you actually use, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you already use PropCon. So you won't have to pay your PropCon membership anymore once you've joined eXp, because you get that as one of your options. Workplace and work chat. I'll just mention this. We have this, so eXp has a massive workplace profile. What is workplace? It's Facebook. It's a Facebook app, but it's Facebook for companies. So it's like a closed environment for Facebook. And I understand eXp has got the largest workplace profile in the world. We've got 89,000 people on it. And what you can do with workplace and work chat, which is the like Facebook Messenger option, it's the direct communication option for workplace, is you can start groups, you can join groups, you can network with eXp agents all over the world. In fact, yesterday I got a phone call on work chat. So you can phone someone on Facebook Messenger, you can actually phone them. I got a phone call yesterday from a guy in France. Can't remember his name. And he was just saying, "Hey, Stephen, I've been following you and watching your videos." And he wanted to know from me, because I'm the chairman of the Global Agent Council for eXp, and I'm stepping down at the end of this year. He said he has applied to be a member of the Global Council for next year. Did I think it was worth it? So we had a good chat. Now we've connected on social media. He's seeing what I'm doing. I'm seeing what he's doing. I'm going to bring him into my team at some point if there's opportunities in France. This is the way eXp works. We network globally all the time with other eXp agents, and this is the tool that you use to do it. Branding. Okay, you get all of, so just, sorry, orientate yourself. Where are we? I'm talking about the 4 pillars of eXp's model. I'm still on pillar number 1, which is the platform. What does it look like to be an agent with eXp? That's what I'm busy answering. Okay, branding. If you choose to brand yourself as an eXp agent, all of the branding is in place. We've got a full marketing center where you can log in and you can download endless templates for anything that you would want to produce. Now, yes, you are responsible for producing your own boards and business cards and flyers and clothing and whatever else you want to produce. eXp don't give you any marketing materials. You own your own business with eXp, but they give you all of the artworks and the template. We also have this, okay, I'll show you the marketing center just now. The other thing I want to talk about is the flexibility of the branding. You can either choose to just brand yourself as an eXp agent, and eXp is becoming more and more well-known, obviously, because we're growing so fast. So I think that's a great option if you don't want to choose another option. Just be an eXp agent, and then all the templates and the artworks are in place for you. But as I mentioned earlier, you can also, I'll show you that just now. You can also brand yourself, either create a brand for yourself, like Lisna Nell did. So this is Lisna Nell's brand on the left. Lisna is the top selling, from 2022, she was eXp's top selling agent. She has built a team in Durbanville, and she's building her own brand called Realtor SA. So if you drive through the northern suburbs of Cape Town now, you will see the Realtor SA branding all over the northern suburbs of Cape Town. And they are just powered by eXp. She created that brand because she wanted to build a team, which she's done. Christine Apple has done the same. She's a real doyen of property in the northern suburbs. It was a bit of a steal when we got her. So she's building her own brand, Christine Apple Properties, Michael Price Properties, Michael Price Real Estate. We've also got companies like, what would be an example? NRG in Port Elizabeth. So James Conyers came across with his whole team in PE, and he maintained his brand. He was National Realtor Group, NRG. So he's just now NRG powered by eXp. He kept his existing brand. And I know that may be what some of you on this call may want to do. So you can keep your brand, and then using PropCon, You can host your own website and import all your listings. You don't have to load them twice. You load them on eXp's listing system, and then you just import them into PropCon. And you can create your whole own domain, landing pages, articles, blogs, agent bios, client testimonials, everything on your own website. So maybe that's something that you'd want to do. In fact, even if you join eXp just as an individual and you're going to be just an eXp agent, I would still advise you, go and register your name as a domain. So safiasayedproperties.co.za. Go and register that. And then using PropCon, which you get access to, start your own website and have all of your listings on your own domain. There's a lot of flexibility, and I'm getting into my real estate training mode now, but there's a lot of power in that, and we can talk through that in the future. Okay, we've got this marketing center where you can go in there and you can download, it just creates anything you want, social media content, little presentation folder things, videos of your listings. You can just create them at a click of a button, download it, and then put them on your social media, flyers, postcards, brochures, business cards, single page website, landing pages for your listings. Everything can get created in eXp's marketing center. Okay, additional income streams. This is the last point on the platform, okay? There's a lot to say, guys. One of the benefits of eXp is that you keep any of your secondary incomes, you keep them 100% for yourself. eXp do not want to participate in your bond commission, for example. So as someone who owns her own or his own business here, I'd be interested to know what percentage your bond originator pays you as a bond comp, because obviously you guys keep 100% of your bond comp. I've been told by the guys at Multinet that 0.5% is about the highest that they do pay in the industry. So I'd be interested to know if you get better than that. But that's what Multinet pay us. But the beauty of this is, as an independent eXp agent, you know, some of you guys work for like Pam Golding. I don't think there's Pam Golding agents on there, but let's say Pam Golding. For most of the agents in South Africa, they will get BondCom and they have to split it with their principal. Or they don't even get it. Like, they get a mug and bean voucher and the principal goes to Greece. With eXp, you keep it all. You keep the full 0.5% for yourself. And then because I've got a big team at eXp, I've been approached by people now saying, hey, can you give us access to your team? And I say, yeah, at a price, you know, give us a good deal. So I've partnered with Funnel and Associates, which is one of the top old mutual brokerages in the country. These oaks do an incredible job. Just try Funnel and Associates once in your life. Refer your client to them. Why would you refer a client to them? Because buyers have to get insurance on their bond. They have to have life insurance. There are financial requirements. Now, very often the bond originators actually they scoop that business. They do that insurance. It's part of their income, and they don't tell you that they're doing it. And often they do not offer the best rates. So what this old mutual brokerage does is they come in, they will give a competitive quote on the bond insurance, and then they upsell the client. They say, well, let's look at your life insurance. Let's look at your home content insurance. To test their service, I got Jean, the oak who owns this business. I said to him, okay, I want you to come and look at my household insurance. We were paying 11,500 Rand a month for household insurance. That included 4 cars, my 2 mountain bikes, which are very expensive, and household contents, not the structure of the home, that's through something else. 11,500 Rand a month. He looked at the schedule. I took it off. We were insured with First for Women. Took it off First for Women's website. I emailed it to him. A day later, he says to me, you're getting completely ripped off. They got my premium down to 6,500 Rand a month, so I'm saving 5,000 Rand a month. My cover doubled from 1.5 million Rand to 2.5 million, almost doubled. The excesses on my vehicles came down from 11,000 to 3,000 Rand on each vehicle. Like, people don't know. They're getting ripped off by the insurers. Just get somebody else to look at it. So you do your clients a favor, and at the same time, Jean then pays you a percentage of the premiums going forward. It's an incredible passive income that we've offered to our agents at eXp. We do the same with currency partners, with currency exchanges, etc. So additional income streams is another major part of owning your own business with eXp. Woo! Okay, that's the platform. Let's get on to the next thing, training. There's a lot to say here, but I'm going to try to say it fast. eXp has got the best training in the world. Why? Because there's so much training. Every single day, there's like 20 or 30 training sessions happening somewhere in the world, and you can attend them all. Why? Because we have an avatar world. There's a calendar that you can check months in advance and see what training is happening every single day, and literally 20, 30 sessions a day. And it's put on by one of eXp's standalone divisions called eXp University. And it's all done in auditoriums in our avatar world. So this is a snapshot of one of our auditoriums. Every person you see there is a living, breathing human being somewhere in the world. They've seen that this is training that looks good to them. They've come into the auditorium. There's a trainer. They do the training. You can talk to the person next to you. You can walk up to the front at the end. You can talk to the trainer. It's incredibly interactive. It's quite a mind-blowing experience, to tell you the truth, the first time you do this. And you can literally go from training on negotiations, like a negotiation skill training in Australia, and you can walk out of that auditorium, and the next hour there's how do you market your listings on Instagram being done in one of the American auditoriums. You can walk into that auditorium and just go to the American campus and go. You can go from Australia to America in 2 minutes using the shortcut button, go to, and you can be doing training. You can attend all 20 training sessions a day if you wanted to. Okay, there's more training than you'll ever do at eXp. That's number one, why it's better than any company in the world, because we don't have to find venues and a budget for training. It's just built into the system. Okay, then another big question, who does the training? This is the other thing that small and actually larger real estate companies have a problem with. Constantly finding good trainers to bring good, new, cutting-edge content to their agents is a big deal, and it is expensive. I know. I was a trainer. I know what I charged companies to go and train. It's an impediment. Who does the training in eXp? Probably a third to half of the training at eXp is done by the Icon agents. Who are the Icon agents? The Icon Award is the top award in eXp in the world. So it's kind of like, the triple emerald club or the double diamond super duper club that, every company's got their like top award. eXp is called the Icon agent. In South Africa, you've got to do 3 million Rand gross commission to be an Icon agent. Yeah, there is another way, but I'll get into that later. If you become an Icon agent with eXp, listen to this. eXp give you your cap amount back in the form of shares. Okay, now I don't want you to miss what I've just said, because with the people that I've selected to be on this call, many of you have got a shot at being Icon agents at eXp. 3 million Rand gross commission. Okay? What I've just said to you is the 150,000 Rand that you pay in on the 25% before you've capped. If you're an Icon agent, you will pay that in pretty early in the year. They take that 150 and they give it back to you. So what does that mean? It means you're on a 96% split the whole year. And you've got access to everything eXp offers. And you're on a 96% split. But that's why the top agents in the world are flocking across to eXp. And as you do your homework, you're going to see that that's the case. Okay, there's a hoop that you've got to jump through. If you want 75,000 of the 150 of the shares, there's a hoop you've got to jump through. You've got to do a certain number of hours training. I think in the States it's 6 sessions. We're still waiting for the requirements for South Africa. It'll be something like this. You've got to do 6 sessions training in eXp world. Now you think about that. It is the most brilliant system, because what eXp have done is they have created a way for the top agents in the world to be incentivized to train the other agents how to do what they are currently doing. And you can go to Icon training every day of the week. There will be Icon training somewhere in eXp in the world that you can go into an avatar and go and do it. And these are with currently crushing it agents somewhere in the world. Obviously, many of them are international. So I guess, Shireen, a lot of this training is going to be unverifiable points. But eXp South Africa do help us with the verifiable. So they've got a thing called Legal Friday that they put on with attorneys, and we get CPD points on the Legal Friday that are verifiable. Okay. In addition to the training that eXp Global provide, eXp South Africa, as I've just said, provide training that is for South African related issues. There's training every week that South Africa put on, the South African staff. Then I have made all of the training that I've done for 20 years. There's a couple of products that are like the cream of what I've done. I've put them together. There's a handful of them. I don't sell my training to anybody in South Africa anymore. No one has got access to my training except the agents in my eXp group. So I've created a bouquet of products that you get for free when you join my eXp group. So all of my training is available. And then lastly, I will often partner with some of the top trainers in the world. And because I've got a big eXp team and I've served on this global council and I've become well known. I don't like the way this is sounding as I'm saying it. Sorry, guys. I apologize. I don't mean it to sound that way. But I have had the opportunity now of meeting like top trainers and top coaches like that guy on the left, Bill Pipes. He's respected as some say the top real estate coach in the world. He came out of the Mike Ferry stable. And I partnered with him recently. He did a 7-session series called The $1 Million Agent. And my whole team got that. I actually bought it. It cost me $500. I bought it for my whole team. And everyone in my team had access to this. And we've got the recordings of that. So you can go and do that now. I've got it on a page. Same thing with Fred Wilson, the most unique individual I've ever met. But he has locked onto the key skill of success in real estate. The most powerful training I've ever done in my life with that guy. We've got the replays of it. Okay. The Build Conference. Every year, this is one of the big things I do for my eXp team. No, Paul Davies is not a trainer with eXp, Sophia. I've got a good relationship with Paul, but he doesn't want to be seen to be partisan to eXp because he's afraid that it'll close doors with him with other companies, which it did for me. When I joined eXp, my training company went out the window, and I knew it would. But I took a risk because I saw the revenue sharing system, and I said, my business can't do what that's going to do. Okay, but the Build Conference, I get the top eXp leaders from around the world. So the top eXp leader is a guy called Brent Gove. He's got 30,000 agents in his revenue share team. 30,000 agents. Now, when you see the numbers later, you're going to realize that is absolutely mind-bogglingly enormous. And the amount of money this guy makes on his revenue share team. He's also an incredible guy, loves the Lord as I do. So I bring him and other top trainers from around the world, other top leaders, I bring them out. And we do a conference once a year. This next one is on the 14th and 15th of February, Valentine's Day and the following day. So bring your Valentine and celebrate using a real estate conference. You don't want to miss this. It is a phenomenal experience. Okay, it's in Cape Town in February. Right, the third thing is the stock awards. How do you get given shares in the business? I keep saying you get given shares in the business. Well, that's what happens. You get given shares in the business. How does that work? eXp listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange in 2017. The share price has, together with the economy, gone up and down through the years. But if you look at where it started, something like $2, and what it was yesterday, I'll tell you what it was yesterday. 1391. So it's kind of gone up almost 10 times in the last, 6 years, which is not bad growth. And you would expect that because eXp have gone from, they're only 14 years old, and in 14 years they've gone to 90,000 agents. So the share price is great. We love the shares. And there's old Glenn Sanford shutting down the world technology markets at the end of the day. It's like an honor they give to the chairman of the company when they list on the stock exchange. Okay, how do we get given shares? There's two panels here which represent two different ways you have access to shares. Now, obviously, you can go and buy shares on the open market if you want to. You need an international trading account because it's a US stock exchange. And in my own experience, those trading accounts are very expensive. The fees are very high. You need to buy large amounts of shares to make it work. With eXp, you've got two ways of getting access to shares. let's start with this one, Agency Equity Awards. These are shares you get given. Okay? Like I said to you with the Icon Award, you get given 150,000 rands worth of shares. There are other ways you get given shares. And that's what these three things on the left are here. The first sale that you make every year, this is every calendar year, let's say in January, February, whatever, they give you 2,000 rands worth of shares. They translate it into US dollars. If your 2,000 rand would have bought you, 5.5 shares or whatever it is, they'll give you 6 shares. They round it up and they give you that amount of shares. Where do the shares go? Every eXp agent gets a Morgan Stanley trading account that gets opened for them. It's part of your membership of eXp, and the shares get put into your Morgan Stanley account. We have a login called ShareWorks. It's Morgan Stanley's app where you can check out your stock awards and the value of your shares at any point in time. It's completely transparent. Okay, the second way you can get given shares is by capping. So I think everybody on this call will be a capping agent. So you'll get 4,000 rands worth of shares when you cap. And they're just saying, hey, congratulations for capping. Here's 4,000 rands worth of shares. Boom. You'll find them in your Morgan Stanley account. Well done. Then the last one is if you sponsor, and I'm going to define that word, if you sponsor another agent into eXp, when they do their first deal, their very first deal, this is not an annual award, this is once off, you get given 4,000 rands worth of shares. Okay, what does it mean to sponsor an agent? Nobody can join eXp worldwide without listing an existing eXp agent as their sponsor when they sign the contract. You have to be brought into eXp by an existing eXp agent. That's the way it works. And what eXp have got is this massive global system that tracks the generations of agents so that they can administer the stock awards program and so that they can pay the revenue share, which I'll get onto next. Sponsor does not mean pay for. So when you sponsor an agent, you don't pay for them. It just means you're introducing them to eXp. Okay, so if you guys were to join, except for maybe one or two exceptions here, and you know who you are, I would be your sponsor into eXp. Okay, when you do your first deal, because I sponsored you, I get given 4,000 rands worth of shares, and the same is true of you if you sponsor people. So I looked at my share portfolio about a month or so ago, and I had 250,000 rands worth of shares just given to me. 250,000 rands worth of shares in under 3 years just given to me in the business. Why? And I don't work as an agent. I'm unique in eXp. Every eXp agent works as an agent. I'm unique. I don't. I just do the revenue sharing. I build my team. So the only way I can earn shares is this last one. You guys will have access to that, and then this whole program here, which I'm going to explain. The last point on these shares that you get given, you don't take legal ownership of them immediately. They take 3 years to vest. Yeah, vesting just means you only take official ownership of them after 3 years. If you leave eXp within that 3-year period, you forfeit the shares. Okay, now why are eXp doing that? It's a retention scheme, obviously. And you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. They are giving me the shares. So if I've got to stay with the business for 3 years to collect my 250,000 rands worth of shares, which is growing every day, fair enough. This one here that I'm now going to explain, you take ownership of these shares immediately. They are yours. They get put into your Morgan Stanley account, but you own them immediately. Okay, and this is called the Agent Equity Program. It is so powerful. What they do is they give access to discounted shares to all their agents. And they limit this to 5% of your commissions. So this is discretionary. You don't have to participate in this. I would recommend that you do. When you fill in the contract, you tick a little block that says, yes, I want to participate. If you tick that block, when you do a deal, instead of paying you out 71% before you've capped or 96% after you've capped, they pay you out 71 minus 5, 66%, or they pay you out 89% after you've capped. They keep 5% back. They're not taking the money from you. It's your money. They're just redirecting it. And they purchase eXp shares for you at a 10% trading discount on the day. Now, let's just talk exit plan for a second. Let's say you want to retire in 10 years' time. Now, 10 years is not a long time for a business to set you free financially. So let's say 10 years. What would your gross commission be working as an agent over the next 10 years? Now take 5% of that and invest it at a 10% discount in a US dollar-based asset in a share of the fastest growing real estate company in history, whose share price has gone up 10 times in 6 years. Guys, that could be worth millions and millions of rands sitting in US dollars in 10 years' time. So my advice to agents when they're joining eXp is do participate in the agent equity program and never even look at the shares. Pretend they don't exist. You know what we like? When money gets put in our account, we spend it. If it doesn't land in our account, go somewhere else, we just forget it exists. Let the shares build up over time. It's part of your exit plan. It's part of your nest egg. Okay, that's the Icon Award. I have kind of explained that. Then the last one, we're almost there, guys, the revenue sharing system. How does the revenue sharing system work? I just want you to get the principle of the revenue sharing before I explain the mechanics of it. It is very important that you understand the principle behind this. This is not a pyramid scheme. This is not Amway. This is a revenue sharing system. What eXp say is, we are so profitable as a company. We make tens of millions of dollars every quarter when every other company is losing money. And we will pay 50% of our revenues, not even the profits, 50% of the revenues we pay out to our agents. Now, if you want to share, get a bigger slice of that pie, what do you have to do? Well, you have to help grow the company, just like normal real estate. If I'm a principal and I want to earn more, what do I have to do? I have to recruit more agents. And if I recruit 10 more agents, I take a split on those agents' transactions, 50% normally. If I'm kind, 40, if I'm even kind of 30%, I take a split on my agents' transactions. That's traditional real estate. And nobody jumps up and down and says that's a pyramid scheme. And it is a pyramid. The guy at the top I showed you earlier. What do eXp do? They say, well, if Shireen brings agents into eXp, she sponsors those agents, we will give her a percentage of those agents, the split that we're taking on those agents' transactions. So Shireen's not going to get paid out of the agent's commission. Shireen's going to get paid out of eXp's portion of the agent's commission. They pay back the revenues to the agents of the company. You know, how could anybody have a problem with that? That is a brilliant, magnanimous, like strategically brilliant move. And you know what it's done? It has unlocked head and shoulders the fastest growing real estate company in history. How does it work? If you sponsor an agent, they put your name on the contract when they join eXp, you get paid 3.5% of those agents' commissions. 3.5%, okay? Up until the point they cap. Okay, why? Because you are getting that 3.5% out of eXp's 25%. Once the agent caps, they no longer pay eXp. So eXp are not making any revenue on that agent for the rest of that 12 months. And so there's no revenue to share. It's a revenue sharing system. Yeah? So we get 3.5% up until the agent caps, which if you do your maths, works out as a maximum of 21,000 Rand per agent per year that you sponsor onto what we call your first tier. So first tier agents are agents that you have personally sponsored into eXp, up to 21,000. If you sponsor 10 capping agents, you'd make 210,000 Rand per year because you'd make 21,000 on each of them. And there's no limit. You can sponsor 100 agents if you want to. I sponsored 60 agents in my first year, and we're just less than 3 years in now. And I've sponsored 93 agents personally. That's what I've done. 93. Okay. Now, question. Shireen sponsors, let's say, Joseph. And Shireen's now getting paid 3.5% on Joseph's transactions. Note this. Shireen is not Joseph's principal. Shireen does not have to provide systems or training or transactional support to Joseph. Shireen does not have to provide an office to Joseph. Shireen does not have to do anything for Joseph. Shireen is getting paid a passive income on Joseph transactions. eXp South Africa are providing all the training, all the transactional support, all of the systems. Listen, guys, I've been in business a long time. I've had 7, I think I was counting, I was counting because I spoke about this to a group the other day. I think I've had 11 businesses in my life. I'm almost 49 years old. I've had 11 businesses. I've seen a lot of what it takes to build a business. Some of them have been successful. Many of them have been complete failures. Most of them, in fact, all of them left me without an exit plan. In 3 years at eXp, I've built a business where I've got 740 agents in my team, 740 agents. It's like, I say it boggles my mind when I say, how's that even possible? With 740 agents, I will go a whole day and my phone won't ring. Honestly, I like, I'm looking for someone to go out for lunch with, and I go into the forest with my spade and I'm trail building. I'm building ramps for my bike and mountain biking. Honestly, it is passive income because eXp are doing all the heavy lifting. You've never seen anything like this in your life before. What if Joseph, Sharina sponsored Joseph. What if Joseph says, you know what? This guy, Steve Johnson, he's actually worth listening to. I'm going to show Steve's video to my friend Mary, because I think she's also going to like this. Joseph shows Mary the video, which you can find at themodelexplained.co.za. This exact presentation is on a video at that website. I've sent it to all of you already. Mary sponsors, who was it? It was Joseph. Joseph sponsors Mary. Joseph is going to get 3.5% of Mary's transactions. But here's the kicker. Shireen is now going to get paid 4% of Joseph's transactions. In fact, Shireen will make more money on Joseph. She's going to make more money on whoever was on the second tier than on the first tier. She sponsored Joseph. Joseph sponsored Mary. Why do eXp do that? We get paid more on our tier 2 agents than we do on our tier 1 agents. Well, it's an incentive. It incentivizes me to help Ashley, who is now seen as Dr. Phil Rodder. Ashley is on my first tier. It incentivizes me to help Ashley to sponsor agents, because as I help her build her business, I'm building my own business. So we get paid on our second tier, up to 24,000 Rand per agent on your second tier. And this works in multiples. It's exponential growth. After just 3 years, guys, I've got 93 people on my first tier. I've got 265 people on my second tier. That's exponential growth. All I did was introduce 93. They've introduced 265. And I get paid more on the 265. What happens if Mary on our tier 2, what happens if Mary sponsors someone? That person's on your tier 3. Well, you get paid up to 15,000 Rand on tier 3, up to 9,000 Rand on tier 4, 6,000 on tier 5, 15,000 on tier 6, and 30,000 on tier 7. Tier 7 is actually the most profitable tier. You make 5% on your agents on tier 7. So just think of this as generations of agents as the company is growing, and you are earning a percentage of the split that you make on all of their transactions. It's not joining fees. This is not Bernie Madoff. This is agents working as estate agents, and we are benefiting on the split on their transactions. The revenue that the company makes is getting shared with us. Okay, guys, I can't do any better a job at explaining it than that. I hope I've done a decent job. this is probably the most powerful aspect of this, is that the agents that join your tiered system, the generations as they grow, they don't have to be, and in fact, it is impossible that they will be only in South Africa. It is simply not possible if you grow a revenue share team for you to keep it in one country, because people know people know people and it goes somewhere else. I already, after less than 3 years, have 2 agents in the UK, 1 agent in the US, 1 agent in France, and 1 agent in Dubai. And I only sponsored one of those guys, the guy in France. The rest have come in tier 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Other people have known those people. Now, when my agent in France, as an example, Frank Brisson, when he does a transaction in France, I get paid, when I compare it to what I would have got paid by a South African agent doing a transaction, I get paid 6 times the amount. Why? Just because of the exchange rate. Now, I don't think I can express to you in strong enough terms the opportunity that I see in this. If you get your head around this, I have, and I'm not saying me, I'm just trying to give you a real life example. I have a global real estate company now. I get paid when agents in Europe do transactions, when agents in America, in Dubai, do transactions. I get paid an enormous amount of money on those transactions because we have a weak exchange rate. And I didn't have to register a company in France or Dubai or America or the UK. And it looks like we're about to go into New Zealand. One of my agents is moving to New Zealand. I didn't have to register a company there, open an office there, get a license, get a work permit, somehow get permission to open, find an office, get an office administrator who speaks the local language, recruit agents. I didn't have to do any of that. It costs me 900 Rand a month. And I've got a global real estate company that provides the top systems in the world to agents all over the world. You know, in the past, guys, people joined real estate companies because they got free business cards. Like, honestly, this business has changed the game. I don't think I should apologize for being passionate about this thing. You know? Okay, calm down. Calm down. Okay, I'm going to finish with this exit plan. Let's just look at some numbers. It will never work this way. It doesn't work this linear. Okay, I'm just using this as a mathematical expression of what the revenue sharing system can do. Let's say you're going to say, using the revenue sharing system, you want to be free in 5 years. Okay, I'm financially free, virtually financially free now after 3 years. I don't need to keep doing this. I want to because I want to earn a lot more. There's lots of money to be made here. But already with what I'm earning, I don't need to work. 5 years, let's say, you want to be free. Could you sponsor? I did 60 in my first year. Could you do 2 a year for the next 5 years? Just 2 people a year. If you did that, you'd have 10 people. If they did each the same, that's the part that'll never work that linear. But let's just say mathematically, they each do the same. So you end up with 100 people in your second tier. If they were capping agents, which they're not all going to be, but if this is what we want to do, that's why I'm approaching people like you. We want to attract influential, productive, profitable agents. If they were all capping agents for just 10 people that you've introduced, your annual income would be 2.6 million Rand. You know, I'm eating my chicken mayonnaise sandwich. You know, jaundiced, skeptical, a little bit difficult, dripping crumbs on the Oaks laptop. And I could not ignore the common sense of all this. And fortunately, I can tell you now, I took a huge risk when I joined eXp because I knew I was kicking my training business into touch. No one was going to use me if they knew I was recruiting agents. I took a huge risk. And here I am, 3 years later, 700 people in my team. I mean, it's like unbelievable. I think we're going to go to 4,000 agents in South Africa. I think we'll get 10% of the market in this country because that's what's happened in the States, and we are growing even faster than they grew in America, in South Africa. This market has been ripe for it. So we are currently at 1,200 agents in South Africa. I think we're going to skyrocket to 4,000 in the next 3 years. Most of the growth is still to come. And not only that, if you were to do this, you would end up having agents starting to grow all over the world. You can't stop it. Next steps. Number one, schedule a follow-up appointment. Okay, I will phone each of you after this at some point today. Please take the phone call. I don't want to have to chase people around. I'm going to phone you. Let's book an appointment and let's just have a chat. I'm sure you got lots of questions. Before then, do some homework. I'm going to email you the link to this page. Go and watch a whole bunch of videos. Do your own research, but this page just helps you to do that. Number two, this is the second link I am going to email you. This is the Join app on eXp South Africa's website. Don't worry. When you click that button and you go to this page and you scroll down and then you see a button, Become an Agent Today, and you click it, and then it says, I'm ready, and you click the terms and conditions, you click on ready. Okay, don't worry. You're not becoming an agent and you don't have to be ready. All it does is it gives you a form. Fill that form in. This is not the contract. It's just an application form. It basically just triggers 2 emails. The first email just says, welcome, we're busy checking you out. Later in the day, you'll get an email. It'll have the contract in it. Read through the contract. That's the second thing that I advise you to do. It's 42 pages. I can tell you there's nothing you need to worry about in there. What you do need to worry about if you're with another agency right now is the contract that you signed with your current agency. That's what you need to worry about. Go and dig your contract out and see if you signed a restraint of trade. Because if you've got a restraint of trade, we need to be careful. Okay? I'm not going to bring you over in a rush if it's going to harm you. We've got attorneys we work with restraints of trade. I think they're very unfair. eXp, we don't do anything like that. In fact, if you don't like eXp, you can leave with all your listings. It's an incredibly open-handed business, but you do want to read through the contract. So go and fill in the form on eXp's website, get access to the contract. Number 3, do a Save Me beta test. Now, to me, this is one of the most important things you can do because while I know many of you from training and we've kind of bumped into each other, I don't know you very well, and more to the point, you don't know me very well. I might be a highly dodgy individual, and you want someone that you know, that you respect, that you trust to look at this with you and save you if you're going to make a mistake. So here's what you do. You phone up your best mate and you say, listen, best mate, I've seen something which has, quite frankly, blown my mind. I am excited about it, but I need you to take a look at this thing and save me if I'm about to make the biggest mistake of my career. Would you please look at it and give me your opinion? That's what you do. If you can make 5 of those phone calls, make 5 of those phone calls. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to go, don't try to explain it to them. It's going to sound like a pyramid scheme, okay? Just show them the video. You go to the modelexplained.co.za. You say, sit down, watch this with me. Here's what will happen. If you show it to 5 people, at least one of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them, are going to join with you. That's what happens.